Welcome to Marvellous Women, the podcast.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. Nicole Hartley, welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
This is like a year in the making, and so
It is.
the day has finally come.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's upon us.
So, with that in mind, Nicole Hartley, who are you?
Oh, starting with the small questions. I do love that.
Absolutely. Let's just get straight in.
Dive in. It's funny, I think people, when they get asked that question, they immediately do, what's my title? I'll tell you my title. And I think I love how you're reframing this through what you're doing in a way that kind of gets to the crux of who people are. And I'm talking around me, aren't I?
You are talking
look
around
at me
you.
Go.
I'm on to you.
I think that's me, though. I think that is me. Who am I? I'm a connector of people. I'm a sharer of knowledge. I'm someone who is keenly interested in understanding how I can. I've used the word serve a lot more lately, and I think that's because I've gotten to a point in my leadership or in my career where I'm like, serving people sort of seem like lower level, but now it's a broader serving. So how can I best serve people around me and connect them? So I'm a servant and a connector. I am a knowledge broker. But yeah, I think that's sort of defining me at the moment.
I think that idea around serving, and I would add another S word to that, and that is supporting.
Yeah.
You're always, and my experience of you is you're always, how can I make you better? How can I help you to achieve your goals?
Yeah.
And I think that there's not many people like that in the world, because I think that...
Really?
Yeah.
I think this is always the interesting thing, right? Because you think, like, isn't everybody out there just trying to help other people do better things or to support people in meaningful ways?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You'd think so. What do you think is behind... I'm going to ask you two questions because it's what I do. What do you think is behind, number one, the change for you to go, now I'm moving into my servant era? And so what was the change, and what is behind that motivation for you to help people be their best?
Yeah, that's great questions.
Thank you.
See, just supporting you in your role here today.
Thank you.
So I think that with the first question, this is something that's come to me in the last couple of years, I think. I think it's when you realise that you actually have reached... I borrow these terms from a friend of mine, eloquent sufficiency in terms of my understanding and knowledge, and I'm at a stage where I don't need to prove a point to people around my space in this world. I have enough knowledge now that I think that I'm confident enough to know that I think I've always got something to share, or I've got the skills and capabilities to bring people into something and help them understand something better. So I feel like I'm just more confident and comfortable in myself and my purpose, that I'm like, well, I feel like I've done what I needed to do, but I'm trying to bring people through and give them confidence. And so that's my focus now, is with my teams that I work with all the students and cohorts of people that we educate or offer our leadership opportunities to. It's really about going, well, there's always something that I can be giving to somebody, regardless of their seniority. I think that's because I've been working with more and more senior people in business, in communities and things like that. And everybody needs something. Everyone needs support, regardless of their seniority. And I feel like we're in a position through what I do, to be able to help people at all levels. And I think it's an interesting juxtaposition to get to in your life, where you're like, well, I've always got something to offer. And whether it's just a shoulder to cry on, whether it's just a reframing of something for someone, asking the right question, providing a connection to somebody else, providing a learning opportunity that we do through exec ed and MBA, whatever that is. So it's my ability, like, to serve, my comfortableness in kind of going, this is my purpose now.
My ability to serve, my comfortableness. I really like that.
Yeah.
That whole idea of, I don't need to prove a point anymore. I've got enough knowledge. I've got enough information. It's kind of time for me to help others step into their being confident and comfy, as you say.
Yeah.
How did that, how do you think, like, how do you know when you hit that point of going, actually, and it's not about you don't need to learn anymore, that's not it, that you've got enough knowledge and you don't need to learn anymore.
No.
How do you know when you're at a point where you can say, I don't need to prove a point anymore, I'm gonna step into my serving era? What does that look like for people who kind of are going, am I there, am I not there?
Yeah, I think it's, there is a part of me that, yes, over the last little while I've gotten roles and I do have titles now. I'm a professor, like in terms of academia, that's the echelon. But I think I could have been sitting here having this conversation with you when I wasn't a professor also. So it's not that switched something in my head. It wasn't giving of a title. I think it's your ability to sit back and observe yourself in moments. And I was starting to observe myself in moments where I went, I feel like when I'm talking to people, when I'm engaging with people, and as I said, of all different ilks and seniority levels or sectors that I know nothing about, I still have something to give in that space. And so you're just observing yourself, and you kind of go, well, I've reached a point where I'm comfortable. I feel comfortable. My comfortableness is at a level where I'm like, right, good. I'm not in the room trying to prove I'm the smartest person, or I'm not trying to impress people. I've found myself being in rooms going, I'm feeling very comfortable, and I'm looking at ways in which I do what I do, which is how can I connect people, or how can I bolster people, or how can I create opportunities for people, whether it's through connections or whatever it is. So I think it's the feeling of comfortableness in that space.
For anyone who's listening to this who's not there, what would you suggest to kind of, and I'm not saying accelerate that, because I think it needs its own time.
It does.
But is there anything that you would recommend that would be like, how do I sit back and observe myself in moments? And is there anything I can do to help me to recognize what that comfort looks like? Because I think about myself as well, a lot of the time you're so busy doing the do, you're having the conversations, you're in the room, that you literally cannot sit back to observe, because you can't be on the balcony because you're on the dance floor.
In the dance floor at the same time, right? So, no, that's a great observation. My thing now is that I walk away from something and I check myself, and like we did a really big event last night, and I was emceeing and I didn't do it. Like, things went wrong, video went wrong, all these kinds of things went wrong. But in my head, normally I would have walked away going, oh God, that looked embarrassing for us as a team, or embarrassing for me because it was just like not working. And then, but I didn't, walked away later going, I just felt good about that because I navigated it, and we were fine, and the event was great, and I got some good vibes. What was I getting good vibes from? Like, it's not like just checking yourself in terms of a feeling. It's like, what about that whole evening event, the presentation you gave or the conversation that you had, where was the feeling coming from? And if it was an icky feeling, what was the icky feeling that you felt? Was it that you were embarrassed, that you were ashamed, or that you felt guilty, or that, or you're feeling like, oh, I'm insecure, I don't have confidence in this space, or is it you just felt, oh, that was really good, and what did I like about it? So it's actually just spending that time, and you're walking away from something, or driving in the car afterwards, or getting on the bus. I'm checking myself more in terms of connecting with my probably gut and intuition a little bit more, and going, what was the good feeling I got there, and what can I attribute that to? And then I think you become more present and aware of your confidence levels around certain things, or where you're finding stickiness still, and then you can sort of find ways to either get rid of that stickiness, or you just move away from those situations. It's
And I think that we all, when we walk away from a situation, we all have something that goes on, and sometimes it's that voice saying, you screwed that up, you're such an idiot.
Yeah, God, I can't believe I said that to that person.
And so there's always something that happens anyway, so why not just replace it with something else, which is something like, well, what? And I love that. What gave me the good vibes tonight?
Correct.
What gave me the ick tonight?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And what might I be able to do differently next time?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I really love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for passing on that knowledge. Look, I think that's really important, because we all do it.
It's true. Yeah.
We all do it. And
Yeah.
I think that's getting into that discipline of asking those alternate questions, alt-reflection.
Yes. And you don't have to dedicate a whole lot of time to it. I'm not doing it at everything anymore, but if there's something that I don't feel good about, I'm like, where is that coming from? Is that a me thing, or is it a situational thing? And what can I do to reframe that for myself, or how can I do better next time, or how can I maybe prepare better, or whatever the need is at the time. But it's just about checking in with yourself and saying where does the good vibes come from? And the good vibes are a good thing to do, because it's about understanding, well, what gives me energy, what gives me, where do I find my good vibes, and so you can chase that and hone your actions around it.
And get more good vibes.
Yeah,
more
correct.
importantly.
We all need good vibes.
We do, and I think there's a big difference between checking in and judging.
Yes.
They're very, very different things.
Yeah, it's the framing that you have about yourself, and it's really, and even as I sit here and talk about this, I'm like, well, people think, oh, you're just kind of up yourself, or you're uber confident, or whatever it is. But I think I'm all sorts of things. Like, I think I'm short and irrelevant sometimes, and all those things. You've got all your negative persona things about you, but you're not looking at that. You're not looking at your personality traits or your things at that particular time. You're just going, what is the good vibe feeling that I'm getting? So that's telling me that's something that I'm really passionate about, or I love, or that I'm actually really good at because I feel so comfortable in it that I'm just like, cool, that was easy, that was engaging or interesting. And then you can layer it up and then start changing some of the thought patterns and the perceptions and things like that around it. Yeah.
I love it. Now, Nicole, I happen to know that outside of work, you have a lot of really interesting things that you like to do.
Really?
Yeah, you do. You're always doing interesting things, going to interesting places.
Yeah.
You haven't told us about any of those. So you've got,
That is true.
there's your work, Nicole.
Yeah.
Who is outside of work, Nicole?
She also works a lot, so her and I have to have a chat quite a bit. Yeah. No, outside work, Nicole, or just Nicole in general, I guess. I'm curious. The way that I've set up my life and where I studied and what I've now gone on to work in and how I interact with people, I love to understand how people make decisions about stuff. So in order to understand that, you need to obtain as much information as possible. So I'm always looking for new sources of information, I guess. So I love music. I love going to live concerts. I love studying how people engage with music, and music itself just fascinates me, quite honestly. And so I'm always going to see new artists that I love, experientially being in a moment. I'm always looking for travel. If I don't have a year that I'm looking at the year ahead and I don't see that I've booked in some travel, I'm feeling like I feel like this is opportunity lost, right? That to go and engage in new spaces and new places.
And I know last year you had a very big year, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was a special year.
It was a special year, and we don't talk about our age, but we had a special
we
year.
We did have a special year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
What was like your best vibes when you were traveling in all of those places last year? Where did you get the best vibes?
Well, the big trip that we did was Peru, and it was a country that I'd never been to before, and that's what I loved about it. You can go back to a lot of repeat places, some places that you really love, and it doesn't have to be, big international places. It could just be places that you love to go to, right? You know your space, but that just makes you comfortable. And I love that feeling, of feeling a little bit uncertain and a little bit like, oh God, I don't know. I'm not scared of traveling at all, but the uncertainty of like, I don't know what it's going to be like, whether I'm going to like the food, or are the people going to be nice, or is it going to be a waste of 4 weeks and we're just going to be like horrible? But am I going to be able to walk that mountain? And I don't know, is the weather going to be great? Like, there's a million and one questions, and I love that churn sitting in all those questions of unknownness. And so going to new places just excites me, in the fact that I don't know the answers to these things, and I'm going to go and experience it, and I'm going to understand new things and feel new things and see new things, and it's just, yeah.
Is that the knowledge seeker in you that wants to know? I want to know the answers to these questions, so I need to put myself in that feeling of discomfort so that I can get that knowledge and grow my knowledge bank.
Yeah, I probably don't think of it I don't probably think of it as linearly as that. I feel like there's something in me that just needs to experience new things, so that I feel like then I've grown as a person, and I'm not so narrow in my perspectives or views, because regardless of, I'm not going there to collect knowledge on the Peruvian people and kind of bring it back and disseminate that knowledge. But I feel like the more cultures and the more people or the more places and situations you expose yourself to, you are collecting data constantly, and it's growing you out as a person, so that you have these different frames of references to draw, to lean into, or to maybe put a lens over something, because you're like, wow, this happens. There's things you might take for granted that when you come back to Australia, you know, we've got such an amazing country, and I still, my favourite flight is always flying back into Australia, because there's no time where I don't go, oh God, I don't want to go home, I want to stay and live here. I'm like, Australia is great. We live in a very lucky country. But I'm taking all the other frames of references with me, and so I can understand people better and understand how good we've got it or bad we've got it, or whatever that frame is. So, yeah.
And that's a great frame to have. And I think also there's that grateful lens as you come back in, going, I'm so grateful that I live in such a wonderful place.
And you're not taking it for granted, and because I think that's the worst thing that we can do, is take this for granted. We're only here for a infinite number of years that we know about in this.
We're here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly. You know, you can look at your life and go, I've got 20 more summers left. What am I going to do with those 20 more summers? Like, it's just
that's confronting.
It is. It completely is. But why aren't we looking at it like that? Because then I think we would action ourselves to do more, to take advantage of that time and to really do all the things that we thought we wanted to do, because, you know, at any stage, at 20 summers, and that could be on average, could very soon become a 10 summer thing, because something happens. And so, when are you going to get to do all the things that you thought you might want to do?
The time is now.
Correct.
So I'm curious, like your good self, you know, there's a lot that you do. I know that, you know, you have an incredibly stressful job. Stressful is not the right word, but you do a lot.
Yeah.
Is there any like quotes or anything you seem to keep yourself repeating or thinking about that either helps you keep focused and motivated, or to keep you going in the hard times, or that you find yourself telling other people?
I do love a quote that's, you know, comfort and growth don't coexist, right? So, and I think I resonate in that space without constantly thinking about it. But it's something that I'm always telling MBAs, and I'm telling people coming into learning environments, because I mean, that's my trade. That's what I do, is I create knowledge spaces for people, and I'm the creator of opportunity and connecting people to possibility, and that's kind of what I see is what we do. And in that space, I think people come in going, oh, really fully understanding, you've got to feel icky, you've got to feel like, oh, this is not comfortable, I'm not feeling comfortable. And that's a good space to be in, and own that space. And that's when you know you're growing and extending yourself, extending the way that you think. Like if you're just immediately going, I don't appreciate that person's point of view, and then you're closing down and you're not actually examining, well, why is it that I don't appreciate that person's point of view? Or wait,
or what's behind their point of view?
Exactly. What is that perspective? And why does that person feel that that's the way that they see things? And so, and if you're not, expanding, you're not feeling, you got to feel uncomfortable. You've got to feel uncomfortable to grow. So I do love that quote. Yeah.
And is there anything that you would suggest to anyone who's listening to this who might be in that discomfort space right now and feeling uncomfortable? As you say, it is that space of growth isn't always a nice place to be. Is there any words of wisdom that you would have for someone who's kind of feeling like that at the moment? They're stretched, they don't know what the answer is, and they're in this uncomfortable space. How do you sit with that?
I think it's a very good question, because you don't want to resonate in uncertainty forever. You can't do that. Like as humans, we need certainty points that ground us, or that just make us feel like it's a hug, like we're giving ourselves a hug, or someone's giving you a hug and we feel comforted. So we do need to feel comforted. So it is about if I look at it as like an MBA journey, I tell the MBAs, well, during this journey, you should feel uncomfortable most of the time. So, but then there's a finite goal in that, right? That you finish your studies and then that you become, this more broadened out person. But, you don't really want people to sit there for 3 or 4 or 5 years resonating at I'm just so uncomfortable all the time that I'm nervous now, and then it's,
my nerves are shot.
Yeah, exactly, correct. And no one should operate like that. But it's not to go into, it's actually about to build in ways in which you do the things that make you comfortable at times that allow you the space to reflect and to feel okay. And so it's not about always feeling, it's not waking up, you can't operate in a space. And if you're feeling comfortable all the time, think about what it gives you comfort. Do the comfort things. If it's a work thing that you're working on and you feel like I'd never feel comfortable in my role or whatever it is, what is it about your role that you really do feel comfortable in and actually engage in, or do some more of that to off-balance the uncomfortableness around a thing that you don't know, and maybe try and coordinate in a way that is healthy and gives you the energy, because you can't. Also, growth kind of drains you. If you look at teenagers when they're growing, they're just tired all the time. They're sleeping all the time.
I'm tired all the time.
I'm tired all the time too. I wanted to say teenagers, but old women also get tired, and I feel like
I'm right with you.
yeah, we do that. But you've got to go back and top up the tank. So what are the things that you top up the tank with? Yeah.
What are the things you top up your tank with?
Good point. Well, the travel thing is a big part of it. It's actually about knowing, and I love the planning side of it too, and just the excitement of the anticipation of looking at new places and going there. I'm innately a really social person, so I do love spending time with a whole lot of my different friends, and I have friends that are all from all different walks of life, and it's sort of great to be able to tap into different people at different times and do all of that. I do just love lots of quiet time and reading, and just reading trash, really, because that's a nice thing to do when you're an academic, is to not read something that's so rigorous and dense. And when I say trash, it's not trash, it's lovely books and stories about people's journeys, but at the same time. And I'm getting back into playing music a little bit, so I'm not great at all. It's just a thing.
Playing an instrument?
I used to play the organ, because that's a very popular instrument, obviously, and lots of people have organs in their homes.
It's not the accordion.
This is true. I actually wish it was the accordion that I learned to play, because at least that's a bit more mobile. Like, rarely do you walk into someone's home and go, "Oh, you have an organ, excellent. Can I play you a tune?" Yes, so I do play a little bit of keyboard, but my left hand's woefully bad. And I was playing guitar, but then I realised that I never like to sit down for very long. So now I've got a ukulele and I just walk around playing that. So
I love that. It's different and it's
is.
mobile.
You're correct.
It's like the accordion of guitars.
That's exactly right. So,
I love that.
Yeah. It took me a good 50 years to work that one out, that I should probably walk and play music. But anyway, we're good.
But you found it. You found
Exactly.
that thing that fills your cup. Now, if you were to look up the words marvellous woman in the dictionary, or marvellous women, whose face would you see and why?
When you ask me a question like that, I have a whole lot of my people in my life's faces that flash in front of me. Like, I don't go immediately to that woman isn't like that superstar woman, or that leader, she was amazing, whatever it is. I have a lot of other faces flash up. And I guess I particularly have my year 11 and 12 English teacher, Mrs. Mitchell. She was this wonderful hippie woman. I just remember her as having. When she moved her arm, you could see that she had tattoos in places, and she was in her probably 50s when she taught us, which seemed very old when you're that young. But she had this white hair, and she reminded me of Fleetwood Mac, quite honestly, all the time I looked at her. And she loved music. She played music in the classroom. But her thing was that she just had small acts of kindness for nearly every one of us as students. I saw her do this time and time and time again, when someone was maybe not being responsive, or they were sitting outside and they looked upset, and I was upset at some stage too, and she'd come out and just sit with you and not expect you to talk, but she would just be, and then she'd ask questions, and at that age people didn't really ask you questions. It was you were always just being told what to do and where to go and where to be. And she spent time, and I thought that was really, really valuable. And so I feel like I've I've only reflected on this lately, is that what about that is a thing that I've probably taken on without even knowing it. And it's about, I like creating time for people. And when I communicate with people, I'm always looking them in the eye. I'm always ensuring that even if it's just a very quick conversation, I'm with you and I'm engaged in you, and I'm a touchy person too. And Mrs. Mitchell just liked to was either leaning in or put a hand on your shoulder, and she was just, you just felt like she was actually listening to you. And I think I love that about her style, and that's resonated with me, I think, and I've leaned in.
Do you think that that experience has contributed to your servant era that you have now? Because it sounds like that's what she was.
Yeah, it's true.
That sitting with, letting you figure things out, but being there if needed, connecting you with music, connecting you with, you know, other humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you become Mrs. Mitchell?
Gosh, what a turn of events. I guess I have in so many ways. Yeah, maybe I have, because I feel like I've also, I think the other part of it, Sam, is that I by no means am too old to keep learning, as we talked about before. You know, I don't think you're ever too old to learn, but I don't need anything more right now where I'm like craving it for my next role or my next job. There's nothing that I'm kind of, I feel like I've got enough to just be good at, to be. Yeah. That's a good, I should finish it there, to be happy with what it is that I do, be happy in my job, to feel okay with what I'm doing, and comfortable in that space, in that way. So maybe I am being Mrs. Mitchell, because I think that's what I found in her, is that I'm like, she was such an amazing teacher that I didn't really talk about her teaching, because that was just a given. Like what she did was, she was great at. But I think she was just comfortable enough in herself to kind of go, now I'm at a stage where I'm not just teaching, I'm ensuring that I'm nurturing, that that my flock are doing okay, that they're...
She doesn't need to prove that she's a good teacher anymore.
No, exactly.
And that she knows her stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, that's not to say that, you know, we can't all upgrade our knowledge and our capabilities and skills, and I still want to keep doing that till the day I die. But it's about, I don't need to walk into a room and prove that I'm a professor, or that I'm an educator, or that I'm a director of a unit, or that I can deliver on what I'm doing. It's just,
you can just be.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
What a fantastic chat. I really enjoyed it, and I always learn things from people that I didn't know, and this chat has been absolutely no different. So thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you, Sam. It's been lovely talking to you as always. So yes.